welcome to Mono Rants at the Movies, a podcast where we rant about films you may have seen at house parties. I'm one of your hosts and jack of all trades, Mono, and hiding out in the forest selling weed to prison guards is my co-host and master of none, Kira.
That's basically what I do now.
I wouldn't... A, it's not true, and B, I wouldn't admit that on the podcast.
Hiding out in the woods? Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we all want to be Jasper, though.
Yeah, we do want to be Jasper. Jasper's end goals. Maybe not his wife's fate, but yes.
No,
that's horrific.
That is pretty horrific. Along with a whole lot of other horrific things in this film, that one is one of the really...
That one gets me, and then the quietest scene as well really, really gets me. I have a little cry every time that's on.
That's a tough scene to watch. But it's not our usual fare of like Mabas Bloom and
tits and
sci-fi and gore and guns. No, we're doing something a bit more serious.
Somber, it's another one of those ones where you're watching it now and going, "Oh, we ain't that far off that."
In some ways, certainly.
Yeah, because it's set in 2027.
Yeah. It's not that far away. But by 2024 in that world, things had already been long fucked because, they hadn't had a baby born in 18 years by that point. But, we are talking Children of Men today.
Yes.
The excellent
based on the novel by P.D. James, which is also well worth a read. It does differ from the film, obviously for stylistic reasons, for story narrative reasons. There is some changes.
Yeah, I think the biggest changes are probably it's guys, not girls. Because it's dudes can't produce sperm.
Yeah, where in this it's just a kind of general infertility, whereas in the book it is men who cannot produce viable sperm.
Yeah, and I tell you, the other biggest change is probably that Theo and Julian's kid doesn't die of the flu in the books.
They took, because in the books Julian isn't his wife, he's divorced, and Julian is the person who's pregnant.
Julian is his wife in the books, isn't it?
No, his wife is like Helen.
Is she not involved in some way, though?
I think she comes to him in the role as Julian, and they've mushed other bits together. So there are changes to it in the book, but the book is well worth a read.
Oh, gotcha. No, it's a fantastic book. And it's not one I probably would have picked up myself, but after watching the film, I was like, I think I do want to read this.
Yeah, no, I didn't realise this was a novel. When I read it, was like, oh my God, this is incredible. Read it! Like, if you like The Handmaid's Tale, if you're into all of that kind of stuff.
Particularly
if you like, in there.
If you like all the stuff around like the quietus and all the way about how the society kind of works, you get way more of that in the books.
The one thing I kind of wish they put in this that's in the books that I found was really, really effective is you have this whole generation of women who can't have children. So they have these like really lifelike baby dolls.
Yeah.
And you can get these baby dolls have been around for years. Like you can get baby dolls like this. You've seen them. I've shown you them.
Yeah. Well, I think in this they're supposed to be even more realistic.
They're even more realistic, but these women are going out and about their days. Like they're all kind of delusional with these baby dolls and doting on them, where in this they've replaced that with animals. They all have pets and cats. There's a lot more animals in it. But I did like the baby dolls in the book. I think that was, talking really about going to the park and there's people like pushing these dolls on swings, but there's no noise of like children playing and laughing and that.
Or I think they do make some noises, because that's one of the things is he's like, it's so weird because occasionally you will hear a child crying or something like that.
But it's recording.
But you automatically know it's somebody with one of those dolls because you don't hear that sound for real anymore.
But I can understand that would have been like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, no, I can understand why they didn't put it in.
Because there's no noise of children in this at all.
Not until the very, very end.
No.
But enough about the book. Well, for now, at least. Shall we do a summary and talk about the movie?
Yes.
In a future where no child has been born in 18 years, an increasingly xenophobic Britain is seemingly the only country still standing. But when ex-activist Theo is contacted by his insurrectionist ex-wife, he agrees to get travel papers for a young woman as a favour. When it all goes south, Theo must take the girl on his own, and his reluctance turns to determination when he realises the woman is humanity's last hope for survival.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary because fertility rates are dropping worldwide. Not only fertility, but birth rates as well. And the rising of things like the 4B movement. You've got everything going on in the States at the minute with
reproduction rights.
And it is a scary world. And to have it in a world where even the people who want to can't.
Yeah.
And you see all this, there's a lot of billboards that are like, failure to comply with fertility testing is a crime. Like it seems like there's a mandatory thing, and it seems to be aimed more at the women.
Well, because it's women who are infertile in
Well,
this.
that's the
it's not the
assumption.
men.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they do when Miriam is talking about it.
Oh God, when she's talking about all the miscarriages. And it isn't that they
yeah.
can't get pregnant, it's that they're not carrying the pregnancies to term.
Well, from the way she's describing it, it sounds like
it was an illness
it
or
was
something.
like a regression. Like some were making it to... Most people were making it to full-term pregnancies.
Yeah.
Then the pregnancy started to...
They were starting to lose them
They're
at
starting to lose them at 5 and 6 months. Then it started to become earlier. So yeah, it seemed like a progression from full-term births back until it was like earlier miscarriages to then just straight up no conception at all.
Wonderful line of the world is a strange place without the laughter of children.
So much about this film is so effective. Like it's
really
crazy.
Is. Alphonse Cuarón shot it very much like a documentary. And you get these incredible long cuts.
Oh, the tracking shots in this are beautiful.
And they are, I know everyone talks about the 7-minute long one at the end, and that is actually 2 or 3. There are digital cuts in there.
Yeah, they're not single shots.
Would have been absolutely impossible to do, but you stay with it because there's no quick cuts and you're lingering with these people going through this, and it is very, very effective that way. From the very opening with the explosion of the cafe.
My 3 favourite kind of tracking shots are cafe, ending,
the ending,
and the car chase where Julian gets. I don't know if that counts as a tracking shot as such because it's the mounted camera that was inside the car, but it's a continuous shot.
They shot it as
fucking
continuous.
Brilliant. If you ever see the behind the scenes on that, it's well worth the watch because the camera rig they set up for that car is incredible.
And the seats all moved, like the seats were able to drop, so as it was passing, like say,
as it was spinning around, it wasn't going to clock anybody in the head.
And the windscreen moved out of the way as well to let it pull back out and back in. And they basically were told to just kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
And choreograph this around it, and then the rig is being driven. You've got a stunt guy on the top. And
no, it was an impressive setup, but for what they got out of it, it was worth every bit of work that went into it, because that is an incredible shot.
That whole panic in the car all the way up, it's just because it's very, very different. It's a very different feeling film. Because if it had been like a big blockbuster production, that would have been all explosions and fancy editing and some fancy driving, whereas in this you never see, it's just panic.
Yeah, and there's never quick cuts like that you see in action films and stuff where it's all frantic and frenetic to keep the pace up. In this, they don't do that because they don't want you.
It's real time.
They want you to dwell on what's just happened. They're not cutting away from this stuff.
Yeah, they're not cutting away from the fact that somebody is dying and they're still trying to escape with their lives, and it's just something. It's one section is dealing with this while the other section is trying to focus on what else is going on.
But I think what I like about the violence in it is that it's never throwaway.
No.
Every death has weight. Well, nearly every death has weight. There's 1 or 2 towards the end that I have issue with, but most of the deaths have proper weight.
Yeah, the cafe
explosion is treated
at
lightly.
The very start, where he walks into the cafe, they find out that the youngest person in the world has been stabbed to death. Yeah. He was 18. He was called Baby Diego. And my heart goes out to Baby Diego because he was the youngest person in the world, and that was like his thing. And everybody thrust this celebrity on him, and he didn't get to live a life, and he refused to sign an autograph for a fan.
Yeah.
And the fan stabbed him, and then the fan was subsequently beaten to death by the crowd. And everybody's crying and mourning like it's this huge, and it is this big, huge event. The youngest person in the world has just died. Like, what hope do you have for the rest of humanity? And that's actually something that they address in the books, is that the last generation, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, are all completely rogue.
Yeah.
Like, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They've gotten, it's, the way you always wonder how this society got there in Battle Royale? This is how.
Well, it's like
they're lawless.
In the books,
what do they have?
Because they have no future, but at the same time,
the point?
They're also kind of being coddled by the state, because the state doesn't want us to just start lamping them in prison because they're the youngest people
in the
and
world,
it's not going to be good for anybody
they need
really.
That.
But they would need a bit of discipline, but they're nearly afraid to, in case one of these young people,
because they're so precious.
Yeah, and in case one of them can produce children. But something that just occurred to me as well is that bit at the start about Baby Diego dying. The rest of the world obviously isn't in as much of a shit as Britain likes to make out.
Because that's Buenos Aires.
And he's stabbed outside a nightclub.
Yeah. But
so
Britain
Buenos Aires can
done
still have nightclubs.
The atypical thing that they like to do.
Well, Britain stands alone is one of the things you see.
Alone.
Yeah, is one of the bits of propaganda that you see.
You've seen it in V for Vendetta as well, where Britain just goes, fuck you. And then you have that wonderful bit in Doomsday where Britain turns its back on Scotland.
Yeah, and the world.
So the turns its back on Britain. But it is very much that imperial attitude that they have of, well, we don't need anybody else. Well, you need to import your fucking coffee from somewhere and your tobacco. Because everyone drinks coffee and smokes like a fucking lunatic.
Yep.
You got to get that from somewhere. What, have you reinvaded the colonies?
I don't think the world is supposed to have like a collapsed.
But Britain's having a big old illegal immigrant.
Yeah, it's making out like they're
having their full Brexit like glory.
Oh yes, and what I love about how their xenophobia is portrayed in this is that it's not just what you expect when people talk about illegal immigrants.
Ad where they're like, he's my dentist, she's my housekeeper, she's my cousin. They're a legal immigrant.
Well, no, not just that, but when you see them in the cages and stuff, it's not just, you're not just hearing like African languages or Far Eastern European languages. French, you're hearing German and French and Italian and Spanish, like, and you know, what were equally developed countries to England. But they are now just treated the same as any of the other illegal immigrants because they're not coming from developing countries, they're coming from other shitty countries. It's kind of, it's Britain's usual thing of class and xenophobia.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way. Like, I have family over there who refer to us as the poor Irish cousins.
Yeah.
And they always will. And they talk down to us because they are of the assumption that because we are Irish, we are therefore lesser than them.
Yeah, well, it's just Britain has always. It's not necessarily always racism with Britain. It's class and xenophobia. Yeah. They just don't like. I mean, even up until the 80s, the Irish were equally despised as any other race or nationality of person was.
And it doesn't take a lot for those attitudes to come back out.
Certainly not, it seems.
No, well, apparently everybody who was like proper xenophobic and liked to nut heads just joined the fucking military because the military seems to be doing fine.
Yeah, there's certainly no shortage of jobs anyway. You just join the military by the looks of it.
They seem to be doing just fine. Everyone else then has to live in this almost Big Brother-esque where you're being monitored. Because I do like the fact that he works for the Ministry of Energy. Yeah, and
a lot of the kind of authoritarian aspect of the government is just implied rather than strictly shown.
Yeah, there's no black bagging people and take them out. Like, you don't have, like, V for Vendetta was very much you had the finger men, there was curfews, there was all of that jazz.
They don't.
This is restricting how people, there's like, they need papers to get to the coast because you seem to be restricted to the area you're in to get to like checkpoints and stuff like that. So they're preventing people from moving around freely.
And then, well, I think as well, it's that Nazi Germany of your papers. If you have papers, you're allowed to move. But if you're moving and you can't provide papers, well, we can arrest you. It's just a really easy way for them to go, oh, person who's legitimately here, person who's not legitimately here.
And then trying to get transport papers and having legitimate reason for doing so.
But you don't, in the propaganda, you don't really get any of the, like, we're watching you type stuff.
No, but it is just like,
it's just kind of implied.
It's, that good old wartime propaganda of do it for the effort,
Oh yeah, and it is certainly a country that seems to be struggling with resources.
Yeah, they do seem to be struggling. Why they are burning cattle, left, right and centre.
Yeah, I'm guessing foot and mouth again?
Yeah, I remember being in the UK when foot and mouth happened the first time around, and they had they were burning the cattle in the fields. And I will never forget that smell as long as I live.
Oh, it was rotten.
Being on the motorway and just seeing pyres and pyres. And then seeing it again. And this was like, it brought the smell back.
Yeah. I saw in, maybe it was trivia or a Goose or review or something when I was looking on IMDb, somebody talking about all the burning horses. And I was like,
they're cows, dude.
They weren't horses.
They're cows.
They were cattle. So yeah, I'm assuming it's foot and mouth, but yeah,
or something. Yeah, well, if they're having issues, the reason they burnt them with the foot and mouth was because it's a zoonosis, so it can transmit to humans. So if you have any sort of zoonosis, you're going to want to stop moving up the food.
Did they burn cows with mad cow disease? Because
I meant to say.
That would actually be more likely.
No, sorry, I tell a lie. It wasn't foot and mouth. It was mad cow disease that they.
No, they burnt them for foot and mouth as well.
Because mad cow disease transmits and becomes CJD, which affects the prions in your brain.
But
they burnt them for mad cow because there's a great Graham Norton episode where They got people to make cakes and bring them in. And there was a mad cow cake, and it was a little like toy tractor with like a cow in the bucket and a trench with a whole load of cows in it.
Yeah.
And that would track for when I was actually in the UK, that it was not foot and mouth, mad cow disease, because that was huge. They called all the deer here.
Aside from aligning it with your own memories of childhood, it would make more sense in the context of the movie, because if they are having resource problems,
they fed the
cows to the cows because they couldn't get grain because they can't import grain.
Yeah.
But we hear Jasper talking about, when he's talking about the quietus later on, he's like, Daddy government gives us antidepressants and suicide kits in our rations.
Yeah.
So they're getting rations.
They are getting rations.
And one of the things that I think also really heavily points to that is the fact that they have the quietus program to begin with.
Yeah, well,
they have a voluntary suicide program that pays your relatives.
You don't have the resources to care for an aging population.
Yeah.
Actually Germany, it's something that Germany is facing now. They have a rapidly aging population, and they don't have younger generations coming up who will step into these roles that are being emptied, but also step into these carer roles that are going to be required because people are living a lot longer.
Yeah,
as well.
And in the books, it's not a drug. It's a forced drowning.
Yeah.
Well, it's a strongly encouraged drowning.
They do it like a
ceremony.
It's kind of like, back in the day when they used to make like old people, leave old people in the woods. Eat the stuff. What if we don't jump? We'll just leave.
We won't tell anybody.
Yeah, we'll just go away.
But I think it is supposed to be that form of voluntary elder sacrifice for the greater good.
Yeah.
In the books, it's more like explicitly 60? said. Yeah, when you're 60, you go to the seaside or to a local kind of place where there's water and you all get drowned.
Yeah.
But it's seen as a
and
very
there's
good
a great,
patriotic thing to
it's
do.
all very peaceful and it's all very serene, but there's a ring of armed guards for anybody who doesn't go through with it.
Whereas again, for the movie, I think the drug works better because it requires a lot less explanation.
Yeah.
It's, in fact, all you need is Jasper to say, Daddy government gives out suicide kits with the rations, and you're like, oh cool, they've got suicide kits, and you see on the ad where it's like, you can choose your time and
go in your way.
Some of the things come up are like, completely painless.
100% guaranteed.
Up to $2,000 to a relative of your choice. And then illegals welcome.
Yes.
Because obviously they don't have a problem with any of the refugees killing themselves. I love that they did include it though, because it is in this, it's not just the resource thing, it's also a symptom of the nation's depression at large.
Yeah, because you get to a point where you would just be like, well, I'm retiring, I should be spending this like with my family and my grandchildren and yada yada yada, and that's all gone. So
what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably in response to mass suicides that were happening. People don't want to go on their own. This was something that came about because this is what the general public was doing. So now the government is just facilitating it.
Yeah.
As opposed to coming across these mass suicide locations. Because you can see they're not even putting money into like the refugee camps or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll just put cages wherever we can and fill them with people. And
but even the general public, like the English citizens, don't seem to be living in the lap of luxury anymore.
No, well, we see Theo is just living in a high-rise apartment that doesn't look particularly fancy.
Like all the sanitation, there doesn't seem to be any sanitation crews out. Like everywhere is filthy. There's litter everywhere. All the cars, all the tech is quite old. You never see a single mobile phone.
No, and the only time you see anything resembling kind of nice cars is when Theo goes to see his cousin. Yeah. And then it's like worlds apart.
In Battersea Power Station.
But even he goes through a set of security checkpoints, and I'm guessing it's everything inside there is where all the rich government people live.
Because he's like the minister for art. He's like creating this arc of
the arc of the arts. I don't even know if he's supposed to be in the film. I don't even know if he's supposed to be actually part of the government, because she says
he is a minister.
The government finances your cousin's arc of the arts.
Yeah.
But even just the arc of the arts is just brilliant as a concept, because it's like, oh yeah, initially it seems like a noble goal. The world is collapsing. Let's save the art before it gets destroyed. Yeah. And then you think it out for a second and you're like,
there's nobody there to appreciate it. Yeah. Although I do like the fact that the first piece of art you see in there is the Banksy of the two police officers kissing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they have the Pink Floyd.
Pig over
Battersea.
But yeah,
and Guernica. What a fucking painting. Oh my God.
But when you start to think about it, it's like, oh, it's really all not noble at all, because
No.
you're going in and it must cost a lot of money to go in there and get all these
all
things
the
out.
climate control, like, and David didn't survive.
Well, yeah, not
Like,
even just how expensive it would be to transport that artwork if you were trying to do it now, because of things like climate control and flying and
It's
all
okay,
that sort of
it's
stuff.
the British government. They're good at stealing antiquities.
Oh, they obviously are, and that's what they've done here.
They just went back to their old good old ways.
It would be an expensive enough endeavour to do it nowadays, just to bring a whole lot of art, much less when you're going into what seem like war zones.
Yeah, because you get the ad that's like, New York, blah, 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 like have all gone, only Britain stands alone on the fucking train that's got all the extra mesh on it because the people fucking shit at the trains.
But like, which do you think would be easier and cost less? To go into the Louvre while Paris is burning and save a whole load of artwork, or to just go anywhere in France and just tell a whole load of people, hey, get on this plane?
Yeah.
So, like, if they wanted to, they could have saved people.
But they don't want to save people.
No, they want to save the art. But for who? And it's just a brilliant mindset of the government at large, I think.
Yeah, no, we like this and we appreciate this and we're not listening to the people and what they
we have to save
need.
the culture.
We have to save the culture.
No point in having a culture when there's no people. But yeah, just that whole arc of the arts thing, I think, was just a beautiful inclusion.
It reminds me a lot of that wonderful story that was told on QI about some Duke and they were, obviously it was wartime and they were going through all his staff to see who he could relieve to take up wartime duties.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, we understand you need this and this.
You need a gardener and an undergardener, and you need a butler and 3 under butlers.
But does your Grace really need 2 pastry chefs? And he went, damn it, can't a man have a biscuit?
Yep.
And like, they can't see the fucking
No, that's how
forest
detached
for the
they are.
trees.
Yeah. Oh, you want to take my, like, it's the war and you won't even let me have a biscuit? Yeah. And it's like, well,
that's very much the vibe I get in the Ministry of Art. But yeah, poor Theo is just trying to go about his day. And
he really doesn't care, because that's one of the things that I quite like about the opening, apart from just the shock of it, is you get a whole...
He goes to work. He gets blown up a little bit and then he goes to work.
Just as that first 30 or so seconds of the film is playing and everybody's watching the TV about baby Diego being dead and sobbing or just staring slack-jawed, and he just walks in, looks at the screen and goes, can I have my coffee? Because he doesn't give a shit about any of that. Like, this is a man who doesn't really care about anything anymore.
No,
and you get that straight away, like...
He's just going through the motions at this point.
And then it's further driven home when he goes outside and the first thing he does is go to put a bit of whiskey in his coffee.
Yeah, and then the bomb goes off and then it's all sheer chaos and you get that wonderful shot of the woman walking out holding her arm.
Yeah.
Which a lot of those... They were actually very lucky to be able to film that because that was not long after the Al-Qaeda London attacks.
Oh, the 7/7.
It was literally about 2-3 weeks afterwards and they did film that in London.
Yeah.
Just the logistics of shooting something that looked like a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of a terrorist attack.
Yeah, not great.
No, and it was really, really incredible though. It's so powerful because it comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Oh yeah, and
the screaming and the alarms are going off. You can still hear rubble falling.
And they cut to black for the titles.
For just the title, and then him arriving into work and everybody's crying. All the women are crying at their desks, all watching it, and everybody's having a snivel. And he's like, oh, well, fuck this shit. But he can't go and say, hey, I got blown up this morning.
Well, he could, but he chooses not to.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's affecting me more than I realised.
Baby Diego is,
death. Do you mind if I go home? I can do my work from home. And your man's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he takes himself off then to the countryside.
To go see Jasper. But even just the fact that he uses Baby Diego as an excuse. Again, nothing we know about him at that point in the movie, but when you look back at it, having watched the full movie, it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense because he doesn't even hang around the bomb site. He goes to work.
Yeah, he leaves.
So if he says anything now, he's going to have to probably, his boss will be like, oh, well, get yourself down to the police and make a report. Yeah. He doesn't want to have to do any of that. Yeah. Like, why didn't you stay and make a report? And then when they look into him, they'll see that his ex-wife is a terrorist leader.
You don't know that at the time.
No, I'm saying, none of this at the time, but when you look back at it, because the first time we watched it, we were like, why wouldn't you just say you were involved in an explosion?
Yeah, I got blown up this morning.
Why wouldn't you just say that? But then, when you know everything that we know about Theo,
you're like, oh, okay.
That's
Makes
why.
Sense, yeah.
And it as a character choice, it tracks for him, even if you don't know why at that time, and I like it.
Yeah, so he seems to be able to move around, at least with a certain bit of leniency. Because he's able to go off and see Jasper on the train. And Jasper's his wonderful old hippie
Jasper's
friend.
Great.
Michael Caine is so much fun.
It's one of my favourite Michael Caine roles. It's not even that big, but
No,
I love
he's
Jasper.
so fun.
He's just so fun. He's so... lighthearted is not the right word, but it's like when you know more about the character, it's like, yeah, he's a guy who used to be a political cartoonist. His wife was a photojournalist who got tortured by MI6.
MI5. And they deny all involvement.
And
MI6 is overseas, MI5 is home.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like CIA and the FBI.
I think, yeah.
But I can't remember which one it is. It
doesn't matter.
Letter Academy.
But yeah, this is, so he was a political cartoonist back in the day when things were turning, you know what I mean? He saw what happened to his wife and he's just kind of like, right, there's not much I can do to change the system the way it is, so I'm just going to do my thing and enjoy my life as it is and as I can and not take things too seriously.
Look after my wife and my cat and my dog and live in a lovely little house in the forest.
Yeah, growing weed for prison officers.
Yeah, strawberry cough.
That I love. It's one of my favourite. Like
when he's like, oh, I sold him to this bloke and he smuggles him into Bexhill. And he's, guess what his job is?
Yeah, immigration officer. No, not that. Just it's one of my favourite on-screen stoner bits because it's not like, oh, look at what big stoners we are. It's just
when he goes cough and he's
the strawberry cough thing.
No, it's the bit where Clive Owen takes the toke and he's talking to him and then he just goes, fuck, that's strong.
Yeah, that's what I love. It's just a little.
I was like, oh, this is written by somebody who.
This was written by somebody who is a smoker.
Yeah,
and it's not any of the cliched, over the top, stupid stoners having munchies or any of that. It's just two lads sitting around having a chat while they smoke, and then one of them being like, "Oh, well, that was stronger than I expected."
Yeah.
But Jasper he's such a great character because even though he is this,
he comes across.
I just want to live out in the woods. I've done my bit. I tried. And it didn't work out for me, so now I'm just going to live out here.
Yeah.
And forget the outside world.
Look what happened to my wife.
But when it actually comes down to it, when it comes to the crunch, he's still ready to fight the fight.
What do you know of the crunch?
He knows plenty of the crunch, in fairness.
Does know plenty of the crunch.
Because when he says to Theo, go, I've talked my way out of worse situations than this.
Yeah.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Well, he might not be lying.
Well, he knows he's not coming out of it alive because he goes in.
He knows full well.
Her, and they say there's a woman and a dog dead inside. And that killed me.
Mm.
I was like, oh, at least he did the dog as well.
Yeah. Left the cat.
Cat'll be fine.
Cat'll be fine. But yeah, when he's saying that to Theo, he doesn't believe it himself. He knows he's about to die, but he knows it's better for them to go on without him and Janice because they will only slow them down, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you got to get to Sid. It's all set up.
And then he goes out like a badass, but it's still heartbreaking. They pull my finger bit, and then he gets shot and tells them to fuck off. So they shoot him again, and then he says, "Pull my finger again."
Yeah,
it's just. Jasper's great.
Jasper's really important because Theo, who's the Clive Owen character, is very serious.
Yeah.
And he's very disillusioned with the world and with everything.
Yeah, I think Jasper and Theo fundamentally see the world the same way, but just have very different reactions to it.
The world, yeah. No, Jasper understands that the world is fucked. But there's no point in being down about it. You can't change it, so you might as well enjoy what you're doing. And
I think it's that conversation that Jasper has with Key and Miriam later on about faith and chance.
Yeah, I love
is
that
a very important conversation to the movie at large, though.
Yeah.
And it relates to how the two of them view the world as well, because Theo's faith in humanity is completely gone.
Oh, yes.
Whereas Jasper's faith in humanity isn't gone, it's just his faith in the government and the current system. But he knows there's still hope for humanity, and especially then when he sees Key, like... Yeah, because basically Theo's going about his day... He gets kidnapped. He gets black-bagged by Charlie Hunnam in a bad head of dreads. Oh, he's a prick in this, though. Oh, he really is. He's one of those characters that you just really, really, really want to get their comeuppance, and then I was not satisfied when he did. But he gets black-bagged, taken away into a room, bright lights, all that jazz, and your man given the "we are the fishes." You are now under the jurisdiction of the fishes. We are at war with the British government until they accept equal rights for all immigrants. It's very... I do like, though, when he's like, you know who we are, and your man does that little, like, blurb again. And everyone's like, he knows who we are. Shut up. Yeah, because to me, it kind of comes across as very Jewish Liberation Front. Yeah. Or People's Liberation Front. Splitters. It's just, it's like, calm down, will you? And you find out that it's actually his ex-wife, Julian, who is the leader of the Fishes, who are this extremist protest group. Yeah. And he blames them for the bomb, and they're like, we don't
bomb anymore. And he said, well, what about London? And she's like, well, we stopped bombing
Liverpool.
She's like, well, we stopped bombing after Liverpool. And they do refer a lot to events. Like, he's asked her were her parents in New York when it happened, and you know that they dropped a nuke on New York at some point. You see it in one of the newspapers.
Yeah.
Or it's in the opening thing where they're talking about, you know, the mosques being occupied, and you see there's camera footage of what looks like the New York skyline with a mushroom cloud over it.
Yeah.
So the world has totally gone to shit. Like, some people have gotten a bit fucking button pushy happy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So they're basically like, we know you can get these papers because you have this cousin. We need to move somebody, and they don't give them any reasoning for why they want this to transport this girl. And he's just like, oh, whatever. Like, you haven't seen me in years, and this is what you want.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's like, fuck it, may as well.
Well, they offer him money.
Yeah, and she's like, I know
helps.
you need money. Here's $5,000. And he's like, fine. Like, I'll ask. But they give him this lost dog poster to stick up if they want to get in contact with him, because there's no phones. Nobody uses a mobile on this.
Well, I mean, even if they did, they would be tracked by the government.
But there is no use. Like, no, people don't have phones, so presumably that's all gone because they don't want people seeing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if
maybe
it was,
the rest of the world being okay.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that it was an explicit choice to not have mobile phones in there or not, because this was made in 2006.
Yeah.
So they weren't quite as ubiquitous as they are now, and as useful as they are now. So I don't know if that was a choice, but you could certainly fit it into the canon of the film that, yeah, the government are like, no, you've got house phones that we can tap, and that's it. Ain't nobody getting mobile phones no more.
Yeah, like when you think about, like, especially watching stuff going down now online on TikTok, like, everybody, things are being circulated and filmed. So, like, if you want to control your population, that's not what you want. Like, and I think had the revolution will be televised, had that come out at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
that was, like, the first time that it was, like, literally filmed from start to finish. But him getting black-bagged and taken off in that whole conversation is very interesting. And all the newspapers with all the different headlines on them. And the poor props department who had to make all those newspapers.
Yeah, can't just go and buy a bunch of newspapers.
No,
gotta make them.
Gotta make them all. That allude to different things that have happened worldwide. And about it being like, you know, in 2004, the birth rate had dropped like 34% or something like. So that was like back then. Yeah,
well, I like that they spread out the information about the world. And like Alfonso Cuarón has said, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he said that he's not a big fan of exposition and narrative in films. So you're not going to get a big opening crawl with how the world went to shit. You get these little bits here and there, like when stuff went down in New York, were your parents there? Or when he goes to see Jasper, and Jasper's like, when are you ever going to bring another girl around? What happened to that last girl? And he's like, oh, she joined the Repenters.
Oh, are they the ones? And he's like...
They're the ones who flagellate themselves, or who kneel down for our salvation for hours on end. And he's like, no, that's the renouncers. The Repenters are the ones who flagellate themselves for our sins at large.
Yeah, so you've got like weird religious...
and you see them later.
Yeah, you see the guys who kneel.
Yeah, you see them later on. They're all in like yellow coats. What I liked about it, because at first you're like, oh, hang on, this government surely doesn't allow protests, and then you see it's them, and they're basically just saying, we're shit and we need to beg for God's forgiveness.
Yeah, they're gonna allow
government's going to allow that sort of thing.
They're going to allow that.
But yeah, you get all these little bits of world building information or things on screen dotted throughout the film, and I really like that because it's not just one big fucking expo dump at the start.
Yeah, it literally is like, this is the world. It is done very much like a documentary in that sense of this is the world and nothing's going to be explained to you. You're just dropped into it.
Yeah, and you just kind of need to pick it up as you go along. Like, and it's not just the world, it's the characters as well, whether it's Theo's reaction to baby's Diego's death at the start, or Luke at the end, not even realizing, like Luke, who's been obsessed with using the baby as a political means, hasn't even bothered to see what fucking sex the baby is. What gender the
baby is, yeah.
And is just like, oh yeah, he was so beautiful. And Luke, or Theo's like, it was a girl, Luke. It's a girl. And he's like, what? Yeah, it's a girl. You didn't even bother to check because this baby doesn't matter to you as a baby or as hope for humanity. This baby only matters to you as a fucking symbol.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a girl is actually even more important.
Oh, yeah. But you get that just from that one line of him being like, I forgot how beautiful babies were. He made me cry. Or earlier on when they're all sitting around the table talking about what to do with Key. Should they go for the boat or should they change their plans? And Miriam is the only one who says, "Oh, I thought we agreed to not use this baby as a political tool." Like, whereas the rest of them are all like, "Oh yeah, now Julian's dead.
We can do whatever
we want with this child."
That's the whole thing when he realizes then that when he's brought into it, because he gets the papers off his cousin. And he goes to meet them and hand them over, and he's like, I have to travel with her because the papers are in my name and with somebody else, because that's the story I had to give.
Yeah.
So he's taking on an extra risk by doing that, and Key is the person, after Julian dies and that whole ambush in the woods, Key is the person who discloses to him that she is pregnant. She's 8 months pregnant. You get the story of how she found out later on, where she thought she just had like
she got an STD or something,
or a stomach bug or something like that, and then her belly started to grow and she didn't know what to do, and she's like, and that when she says, I'm scared. Yeah,
well, she said she thought about killing herself.
Yeah,
she said she thought about the quietus thing.
Yeah, because she was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm a freak. And
then it's like when she says when she felt the baby cake for the first time.
Little bastard was alive, and so was I.
I love her dialogue throughout it. It's some of the stuff is great, particularly when she goes for the virgin birth gag.
Yeah,
it's great.
Because I was saying that, I was like, STDs must be running rampant, because it's not like you have to use protection anymore. Nobody's going to be able to get pregnant.
Nobody getting pregnant.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if government had banned condoms. They were like, no, look, we don't care if you get STDs. One of you might accidentally get pregnant.
Yeah, like I was like, they must have like super fucking gonorrhea. That's like what the next epidemic's going to be.
Well, I think that's what she's talking about when she says, I thought I got the pest.
Yeah, the pest. Yeah, that was what she calls it.
Yeah.
But Theo's reaction to that is, oh good God. Or no, when she shows him that she's pregnant, and he goes, oh Jesus Christ. Yeah. And he's just in awe.
He's in shock, and it's like saying to Luke, he's like, but she's pregnant. And he's like, yeah, now you know how important this is.
They were like, we don't, and he's like, your political ideas. Not important.
Yeah, because this whole thing
don't matter anymore. They do matter, but in this situation,
they don't.
She needs to go to a doctor.
Yeah, that's what's most important, is that this baby and her survive.
And they're like, oh, they're never going to acknowledge that I was born of a Fuji, and they'll give it to some rich English black lady.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares as long as Key and the kid are safe?
Yeah,
like, I understand you're going to use this for
that's assuming
gain.
that you bring it to a government doctor. He's not saying that. He's just saying she needs a proper doctor.
She needs a doctor.
Sure the resistance.
Like, yes, you have Miriam. I'm
sure
who was
the resistance
midwife.
know people who are doctors that
they have Miriam. Like she was saying like she was a midwife. She's also a bit.
Well, Ian is also supposed to be a doctor as well.
Yeah.
Your man with the glasses.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure they have other doctors who are still working as doctors, but on the sly do things for them. You know what I mean? Like any resistance gets a network of helpers.
Generally a drunk vet.
That's what But that's what Theo, I think, is suggesting. Theo's not saying let's go to the government.
No, Theo's saying...
First he says make it public.
Make it public, yeah.
Because once it's public, the government can't really take it from
Make it public while she's pregnant.
Yeah, but then when they won't do that, he's like, well, then we need to get her to a doctor.
Yeah. And we need to do the right thing.
The fact that they just ignore all that, you're like, oh yeah, they really only care about this baby as a symbol. And then you find out absolutely 100% that's the case when Patric shows back up.
Oh, Patric. And like Patric's rage about the death of one of the other guys and being like, he was only 19.
Yeah, but you went there to murder another person.
Yeah, well,
like,
you're the person who
there was always a risk
down this path.
Yeah, and there was always a risk because you were going there to, and if he's a member of the of the resistance or the insurgency or whatever they call it.
Because they're planning this whole uprising thing.
Yeah,
and they're going to make the government see, and it's like, dude,
like you run the risk of getting shot by the government every single day. Why are you so pissed off that Theo banged a door into your bike? Like he was just defending himself. It's just, but I think that's just supposed to be the type of character he is. He's just fucking psycho. Like.
Yeah.
And when he's booting it down the hill after them.
Oh God, yeah, he is running. Fucking track and field athlete right there.
Oh, that's one of those things that's either impossible to do or you get it when you just get the stride just right for the level of downhill that you're doing.
Yeah,
you just the speed he's going proper.
And that's one of those ones where you get to the bottom and you can't stop and you have to get your head back up above.
But I love how tense that whole scene is when they're escaping
from the farmhouse.
Yeah, it's great like having to push out the car and then he tries to jump it as they're going down the hill and it loses all the momentum.
You can push start a manual car with a dead battery. You can get it to start.
Yeah, because they say that they're going to need a jump start for it, but it's an English car, which means it's a manual transmission, which means you can do either.
I have done it backwards by myself, rowing down a hill backwards, and gotten my car to start.
Yeah, no, it can be done.
Yeah, you can do it. He could have done it actually because he does try to do it as they're rolling down the hill, but
that's what I was just saying. He gets it wrong and has to get out and push again.
Yeah, and the worst thing about push starting any car like that is if they get it right, or if they do, like Miriam floods it.
Oh,
you bang your teeth off the back of the car, your whole face, because you go, oh, it's going, and then it lurches and your whole face into the back window.
But it also contains, I think, one of the most unbelievable things in the entire film.
What?
Him pushing that on his own.
Oh God, yeah, it's a Renault Megane. They weigh a ton.
With 2 people in it.
Oh.
But no, when he first realizes and he starts, he's like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to get out and push it. You can see. That's already been pushed by crew that are off camera
on a hill.
Just before, because he's just getting out and pushing from the door.
I don't care if you've got the handbrake off, mate. Like,
even if it's the lightest car in the world.
No. Like, I can't even push my own car. My car is really light. I would be in bits. Like, if I was behind it and there was, like, nobody in it.
And a hill, maybe. Yeah.
And a hill, yeah. But, like, just to get it going. Because once it's rolling, you're kind of okay. But no.
But I think, I really like that. That, I think, is one of the most tense bits in the film.
No, and you really get the sort of person Theo is. Theo sees them, he overhears a lot of stuff, and he's like, I'm going to go wake her up.
Well, yeah, because he could just leg it.
He could have just left, because he's probably, like, next in line for,
his plan had been to fuck off the next morning.
Yeah.
And then he finds out she's pregnant and he's like, okay, hang on, I might stay around a little bit.
Yeah.
But then they're like, yeah, well, we're going to move her tomorrow and you can kill Theo then. And he's like,
oh.
No, she needs to get where she's going.
He realises
she needs to get
how
help.
important she is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just, the rest of the people don't see Key as a human. She's a means to an end.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They only care about her as long as she has a baby. Like, they really don't care about her in any other way, and they don't care for her health or her safety.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that in Luke when he's talking about, right, we need to change the plan. And he keeps, like, feigning deference to Key.
Yeah, being like, well, this is your choice, and this, that, and the other. No, you're dealing with a very scared girl.
Yeah, you're like...
Like, I know she's an adult, but the way she comes across is very childlike.
Yeah, I don't think she's supposed to be much older than just over 18. Like, they cast somebody who does have a very, not baby face, but she does look very young.
She does look a lot younger.
You know what I mean? If they hadn't already expressly said that baby Diego was the youngest person in the world to die. And then they
announce actually who the new
one is. If you hadn't been told that already,
like, and they literally have it down to like hours and minutes.
I would have maybe assumed that Key was supposed to be like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But you can't be because...
But that's also the way her mannerisms are, because they're probably anybody who had children who were the last generation to have children would have coddled them and kept them like this.
Yeah.
For, in these. And she doesn't need to know things about the world. Like when she's talking about that, she was like, I didn't even know what was happening. When she talked about getting pregnant, I didn't know what was happening. I've never seen a pregnant woman. I've never seen anything like that.
And she even to the point where she goes to inform him as to how long a pregnancy takes, because she thinks he won't know, and he's like, no, I know, I'm old enough to know I had kids.
They had a child, so yeah.
Yeah, no, Key, and I can't remember the actress's name.
She's fantastic.
She's fantastic. Well, I mean, everybody in this is great.
No, she is.
But she's so good.
Yeah. Like, you really do. Like, when she's talking about being scared, like, when they're going on the bus into Bexhill.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck's going on there? And Miriam's trying to downplay it by saying that it's just bowel contractions. It's normal. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But this girl is she's experiencing something that nobody that she knows has gone through. That she's not seen. It's not the norm now. Like, you would be fucking terrified.
And I do like the addition of Miriam in there as the midwife.
I like the fact that she's a bit new agey. She's kind of
cracks me up with the new agey this, because it's almost
and
like she's just crammed every religion together.
Yeah, well,
fuck it. Because at one point she's talking about bodhisattvas and saints in the same sentence.
Well, in fairness, Buddha, Shiva, fucking
Allah, one of you saved me.
Me, yeah. Somebody's got to be right,
I think it is a bit that, but
because as well, it's not like, and because you would have like a lot of religious persecution going on probably in the run up to it, because different people would be like, well, this is what you get for this. Like, if it had been happening just to one group of people, they would have, they would have turned it into, this is what you get for defying your God, but it's happening to all of them. They've all angered God.
And well, I think what I like about her then as well is she's, innocent's not the right word, but like incredibly hopeful. No, I think it's just incredibly hopeful. Like, she's going back to the whole faith and chance thing.
Yeah.
She's just looking to put her faith in anything that she thinks will give her hope.
Yeah.
So, like, when
Theo makes what else is there
Oh yeah, but when Theo makes the joke about Jasper having seen a UFO on the Heath, and she's like, "You really saw a UFO?
I was like,
you
of course,
saw a UFO?
Of course, you're the one who focuses on the UFO.
Oh yeah, but it also it tracks because, well, if aliens exist, there might be something that could save us. If God exists, there might be something that could save us. If any God exists, no matter what it is, any enlightened being, they might be able to save us.
Going.
But she's also a member of the fishes, so maybe the fishes can save us from the society that we're part in. I think that she's a person of very strong faith, but also very broad faith.
Yeah, but also hope. Hope is so important.
For her faith is absolutely tied to a hope for the future.
But that is what faith should do. Faith should provide you with a comfort in times of crisis.
Oh yeah.
And turning to her faith comforts her.
Oh yeah, and I don't mean religious faith in this context, just faith in
that woman
things.
Stands up for her fucking beliefs the way she does on that bus in Bexhill when she's praying.
I don't know if that was the best choice.
Like, part of it as well as a distraction, and then Theo jumps in with the rest of the distraction.
I think Theo's distraction is better for not getting her taken off the bus than her own is. But I think she leaves at the right part of the film as well.
That shows you the brutalistic quality of the military. Because there's a couple of shots in there that are very fucking.
Oh yeah,
they're straight out of photos of things you've seen. Because that's.
Oh well, they recreated the Abu Ghraib photo in that scene there as well, and the Libertine song "Arbeit macht frei" is playing when she gets taken off the bus.
Yeah. Because the cafe explosion scene is very reminiscent of the old IRA bombings.
I think that's intentional as well when they mention Liverpool, when she's talking about the fishes and she mentions Liverpool.
It was Manchester that the
No, I know, but I think it is supposed to be...
It's the reason why there's no blood bins on the underground.
Yeah, well, plus also up until... And even I suppose at the point when this film was made, Britain's experiences with terrorists was largely... the IRA and not Al Qaeda or any of the rest of them. The 7/7 bombings had happened, but
but that literally happened while this was in production.
Yeah, but historically,
not to downplay it, it wasn't as devastating or have as devastating an effect as say like the 9/11 bombings did. Because Britain is also very much like that, where like
Britain soldiers on.
Britain soldiers on. Britain was like,
and it does.
Keep calm and carry on.
Britain's good at
Darrow
that.
Breen has a wonderful piece about it and about how the British people dealt with that and going, right, I can't go here and I can't go here. I can go this way and this way on the tube system. Hey, I'll get home quicker.
Yeah, well, but I think as well, it's that thing of the British mindset of business as normal, but not in an ignoring it way.
No, but we're just it's like the fallacy of normality.
I think it's less than that. It's the same argument for rebuilding the trade centres exactly as they were.
Yeah,
you had no effect, terrorists.
Yeah,
business carries on as normal.
Yeah,
and I think that's more where the British response came to it from. And there was plenty of compassion at the time. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I said. I didn't want to downplay it.
It wasn't ignoring
but
it,
the original. And I think those jokes were coming out. People were making jokes about that like on the day because humour is a very valid trauma response to things. You joke about it to not to make light of it and to downplay
help process
but to process it. And like dark humour is always a thing that people have used. And there was people talking about how there was going to be so many nobody wanted to get in the emergency relief buses.
Yeah,
they were like, 'cause I'll never get home.
Yeah.
That is, the calf scene in particular really does remind me of footage from like the Troubles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and I think it's absolutely supposed to, because there are times when the camera acts like a normal movie camera and it's just filming a scene, and there are other times when it's like a documentary camera and it's either it's a character or it's following a character, and because the camera very much follows Theo out of that shop like it's just another person walking with him, and then it spins around him, and it's just again beautifully shot. But it's so unexpected as well.
That explosion, and there's
it really sets the tone for the film.
What I really like about this is a lot of the music is diegetic as well.
Diegetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the music, nearly all the music that's diegetic is songs, like on the radio and in the background, and nearly all, in fact, there's very little non-diegetic music. And where it tends to be either, it's a lot of strings that are either really...
There's a lot of like religious overtone, choral music.
There's like religious-y strings that are like Glory Be, and then there's also really, really sad, devastating things are happening strings. Yeah. So it's like when he sees Key for the first time.
It's all like...
It's all...
like Host of Angels.
Yeah. But when like Julian gets killed, there's another part... No, I think it is when Julian gets killed, there's much more kind of sadder string sounds, and
I actually can't even remember if there's any music there because there's still very
there's definitely
frantic.
Somewhere else. I think it might actually be towards the end when he's like rowing the boat out and dying.
Yeah.
But when there is non-diegetic music, it tends to be string stuff, and then all the diegetic music in the film is it's songs, but it's only really short clips of songs. There's a bit of like Hush from Kula Shaker.
Yeah.
And that was actually...
There's some Aphex Twin in there.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about Jasper is when they first get in the car, it's Hush, Kula Shaker. And you're like, yeah, it's an old hippie. When they stop to get out of the car to like move all the brush out of the way, it's hip hop that's playing.
Yeah.
Then when you see Janice for the first time, it's Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then
because that was one of her favourite songs.
And it's also what's playing when he gives her the quietus.
Yeah.
And then the other bit of music you hear from him is like, oh, well, if your ears are still ringing, you won't mind if I play a bit of music. And he starts playing Aphex Twin.
A bit of meditation music. And it's fucking Aphex Twin. And it's some mad remix of Aphex Twin that's even weirder.
Yeah, and he's just jamming out to it.
If you ever want to laugh, go look up their sheet music.
Oh, God, yeah.
It looks like an ant had a seizure.
But yeah, no, that the use of music is it's just really well thought out in this as well, and I think the pacing is fucking fantastic because it's a long enough film. It's just shy of 2 hours, but you never feel like it's getting dragged out or anything.
No, because it will have these little moments of calm where things are normal, like them in the car before the ambush, where they're just shooting the shit and Miriam's eating an orange, and they're talking about the bar game with the ping pong balls.
Oh, the ping pong ball in the car was great. I completely forgot about that.
That whole bit about like, hey, or he's like making the joke about finding a hotel to pull over because Julian promised him a bit of something.
Yeah,
she's like, and she turns around.
Yeah,
and it's so natural. It's just people driving and having a chat. And then there's music playing in the background, and then as everything starts to go down and people are still reacting in what would be a natural way, and his breakdown by the tree.
Oh, it's great. It was breakdown by the tree, but actually I prefer his outburst after Jasper's gotten killed.
Yes.
And he's like to Miriam, don't fucking touch me, don't
fucking
talk to me.
And then when Key says, is Jasper okay? He says they're fine.
He's fine, let's go.
He's fine, let's go.
And it's like, it's following on from that breakdown earlier. He's like, I've lost Julian and now I've lost Jasper and Janice. He knows it's not Miriam's fault, but she's the only one of the fishes who's left around him, and it is the fish's fault. Like, so
they're why they're in this now. Like,
and
their stupid fucking plan is what fucked up everything for everybody else.
But speaking of those deaths, I really like how they kind of...
Well, you don't see Miriam's death.
No, but it's not Miriam's death.
It's heavily implied because she's joined to the line.
She gets black bagged.
She gets black bagged. There's a line of people with their hands in their heads in bags. There's there's another group of them that have been stripped of all their clothing.
Yeah, and there's another group of them that are clearly dead.
And then there's the guys in cages as well. And there's something about the processing as well that brings up, the dehumanization of these people.
Yeah, yeah. But the what I was going to say about the deaths there is, and kind of related to the pacing, is that every major death kind of splits up the film. So Act 1 is set in the world and Theo gets recruited, and Act 1 pretty much ends with Julian's death.
Yeah.
Act 2 starts with them getting to the farm and finding out what's actually...
Speaking of the farm, Tomas.
Tomas is great, yeah.
Tomas is great, and he's talking about, and he's saying, he was like, where are you from? And he's like, I'm Polish, my wife is a cod.
Yeah.
And he looks at him and he goes,
fish.
An English fish.
Yeah.
And he's like, I lived in London, didn't like it, I'm happy out here.
Yeah.
And he has everything to fight for because he's Polish. There's nothing to say that they can't, even though he's married to a British woman. What's for them to say, sorry, no?
Well, yeah, they can very easily change what an illegal immigrant is versus a legal immigrant. Yeah. No,
I really like him as well. He does seem to be quite reasonable as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's supposed to be higher up.
No, he's
I
just
think
there.
he's only afforded the position that he has because it's his farm.
It's his farm.
And he's willing to open it up to them.
Yeah.
But then, Act 2 starts kind of with them getting to the farm, and I would say Act 2 then ends with Jasper's death.
Act 2, the start of Act 2 lets you breathe and you get the reveal of Key is actually pregnant. She's not she is actually important, and you can see then, Julian had no choice in the matter, but she laid down her life for this woman. She's come out of hiding to contact him because she saw how important this was. Yeah, and she knows she needs somebody that she can trust, and preferably outside the fishes. She's like, all you did was talk politics, and he's like, yeah, that was 20 years ago, and she's like, I know who you are. Yeah. They have the argument as well about losing Dylan, their child, on the bus. Yeah. Which is what she's like, you wore your grief and your memory of him like a ball and chain. Yeah. which dragged you down, and you've been stuck in this hole suffering.
Yeah, ever since.
Because he died of the flu in
2008, I think.
Epidemic in 2008. While we did have a flu epidemic in 2008, everybody was a little bit too worried about the housing market crash.
Yeah. So. You don't have to keep trying to relate it to the real world events. It's fine just as an allegory.
But just, there was a global fucking crisis in 2008.
Just not
so that's why it's like every now and again they come up with dates in this and I'm like, that's a little bit too close. Too close for comfort. Don't like.
Yeah, so your first act is him getting brought in and finishes with Julian dying. Your second act is the development and finding out that Key is pregnant and that the fishes are actually the ones who killed Julian.
Yeah.
And
that's a nice little reveal, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That is like, sorry, what now?
But then that him and Key and Miriam are going to have to break out on their own. They need to find their own help.
Because they know, because they've persuaded Key to stay and have the baby there.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to stay here. And he's like, no. We gotta go.
But
we gotta go now.
Act 2, they get to Jasper, and then it ends with Act 2 ends with Jasper's death. And the final act is them nearly split up into two. The final act is them getting to Bexhill and getting into Bexhill, and the kind of what happens once they're in Bexhill and the final bit of the film. That last act is split up by Miriam's off-screen death.
Miriam's off-screen death and the birth of the child.
And then the film, the final
you've got Miriam's death going into Key giving birth, and then them waking up the next morning with Sid.
Yeah, no,
but
that's what
insane prison guard.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to make a point about deaths and act structure, and you won't let me.
No, but I'm saying, like, with that, when you have the implied death off screen that you don't see, but you also have the birth.
Yeah, which
does make that little.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that every act ends with a death.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the last act is split into two, so it's not quite a separate act in and of itself, but it is still, that split is also marked by a death. It's just an off-screen death of Miriam, and then the final death at the end of the film is obviously Theo's.
Yeah.
And I just like that structure there with the acts. And
Jesus, they blew the shit out of Bexhill though.
Oh yeah, that whole final scene is just fucking amazing. It's where the documentary's kind of aspect is so strong. Like, and it's like war correspondence.
And you're just glued to it though.
But
because there's no cuts.
No obvious ones anyway.
Yeah, and you're trying to, because it does look like just a handy cam running. Like, you're trying to keep up with them and you can't see what's going on, and you're trying to make out like what's going on around them. They've also got a language barrier because the woman that's helping them is Romanian. She doesn't really speak English.
But
she's fantastic.
Oh, she's great. Maricha
she's if everybody needs a Maricha in their life, she knows everybody and she's good with everybody. Her helping them, her then taking on the Miriam kind of role with her little dog, and her puffy down coat with the duct tape on the back. But she takes on that kind of role of looking after them and being like, no, we can get you here. And she's realised the importance, because the second she sees that baby, she's like, okay, yeah, we need to go.
But just on the camera work in that section of the film as well, like you said, it's hard to see what's going on because the whole film...
It's chaos. You can hear gunfire, there's screaming, there's things blowing up, there's stuff dropping on them, because not only is there a riot breaking out... Yeah. The whole facility, they literally took a whole seaside town and walled it off and just threw all these people in there. Yeah. And there's like goats running around, there's sheep, there's horses, there's a lot of weaponry. Not doing a good job with that. No. But the infrastructure is crumbling around
the point that I'm trying to make about the camera work is that in other films they would be showing you like, oh yeah, this is going on over here. But the whole film we've just been following Theo.
Yeah.
And when we're in Bexhill and all the shit is going down, we're still following Theo. So when Key gets taken and she's getting brought into the building and Theo's trying to find her, they don't show you her. You just hear her. You hear Luke
like,
saying, "Get her into the building.
Get her into the building." Yeah, and then because you see a fucking tank popping up, and
but we're still following Theo. Yeah. And so you're right in there with them, and you're experiencing. That he's
left Mariska up at the wall until they come back out, and you're like, "Oh fuck, there she is." Because he's just like, I have to keep going, I have to keep going. He's got no shoes on anymore. He lost his flip-flops along the way.
You're stuck with his... Well, I think at that point he got the shoes off the cool Russian dude.
No, because they go there afterwards.
When Luke's taken Key away.
He hasn't got the shoes yet.
Yes, he has.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, because the whole thing is he meets the Russian guy who's like, we'll take you to the boat.
Yeah.
And then they go down to get into the underground section where the boat is.
Oh,
he gets shot by the guys and they take Key away. and are about to kill Theo, and he manages to escape because a whole lot of British or a whole lot of soldiers come up and distract him.
Because it's absolute,
but it's pure chaos. But because you're
riot.
just following Theo, it makes it really hard to tell what's going on overall inside Bexhill, who's winning, who's losing.
And it's I like the fact
that's
as well
not
that
what's
Bexhill has split itself up into all these little, like there's a little Italian district, there's a little French district.
Yeah, because when you see all the Muslims coming along marching and
in their
firing their guns, you're like, did it have to just be Muslims? And then the next bit that you see, it's a bunch of French lads or Italian lads going along with guns as well.
There's nothing on fire, so the French aren't there.
There's plenty on fire there.
No, but the French protest, first thing you do is set a car on fire.
Yeah.
But it's split up, and it's just this, like, they seem to have set up their own laws and things.
They're just thrown in there and do whatever you want. Yeah. And that's why I think why when they're being marched in, you hear over the loudspeakers being played, Britain supports you, don't support terrorists. And it's like, you've got them in effectively a prison. Why are you having to tell them that? It's like, because it's not a prison. They're literally just fucking people in there.
It's kind of like the Narrows.
I'm guessing there's some sort of provision sent in, because if they're not letting them out, they're giving them some food. So I was like, why would they have to tell them not to support terrorists? It's like, because, well, there's still terrorists in there, as you find out.
Yeah, what are they going to do with them after back? They don't seem to have, like, a plan to deport them out of there.
Well, I think they are deporting them, because they say they are constantly talking about deportation and stuff throughout it, but I don't think they're in any hurry to.
No, they don't seem to be.
The government, I'd imagine, all they really want is for the illegal immigrants not to be a drain on society, and once they fuck them into Bexhill, they're a marginal drain on society. All they have to do is give them a little bit of food, if that.
Yeah, but they have to pay all that military that are there protecting it. That's where the drain is.
Well, yeah, but better to have them all in one place than all that military spread out trying to hunt them down.
Yeah.
I assume they are. Some are getting deported, some are just getting summarily shot. And again, they don't go into it too much because it's kind of not important.
No.
Like, what's important is key. And there was a quote from...
Because honestly, Sid, the immigration officer, is all...
Sid's great. Well, not great, but he's a great character.
But, like... he would have made a fine black and tan.
Absolutely.
Like, he's got that mentality. He's a complete nut job.
Absolute hypocrite.
The fact that the code that they have set up is "you're a fascist pig."
Yeah.
And is he Scottish or is he just insane?
The actor's Scottish anyway.
Yeah, because he's got enough of that.
Oh, and if you watch
Mad Scots accent, that's like, and he talks about himself in the third person too, which automatically always makes me wary.
Yeah, Sid doesn't know why you want to get in, and Sid doesn't want to know.
Very bad. Don't know when he's talking, when she thinks she's going to throw up in the back of the APC.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, no,
sick. Very bad.
Very bad. Yeah, never get the smell out.
Sid's a character. Sid is a fucking character.
He's only in it for about 5 minutes, but he is just hilarious and also terrifying.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, he pulls that off well. Of you literally, like, yeah, he's agreed to help us, but he could change his mind at any second if he thinks it suits him. And
or
then
if there's
he
profit.
does when he finds out that it does suit him.
Well, when he's saying like, "Oh, I watching the news last night, and then I see your pretty faces on it."
Yeah. And he's like, I happen to know the fishies are also looking for you. And it's one thing to know that the hole in the fence was about fishes getting in. Because you could probably figure that out yourself just from observing.
Because somebody blew a massive hole in the wall, so all hell is literally breaking loose there at the minute.
Yeah, but the fact that he knows the fishes are actively looking for him and Key means he probably has some dealings with the fishes. Not just buying weed off the guy to smuggle in.
Yeah, because he's saying, like, Jasper's a gentleman and I buy it off him when I could get it cheaper off the gangs. Yeah. But it's a point of principle for him. He's like, no, he's a gentleman. I think it's a point of racism for him. As well. Yeah.
Because the way he says the gangs, there's just something about that. He's like, yeah, I could get weed from those Fugees inside there if I wanted to. And even, when he's talking about, let me see your sad Fuji face. He's just, like, he's absolutely minimising what those people are going through.
Like, I love the riot get-up that they're in.
I love his little vehicle.
Is it like APC?
It's APC with the automatic gun on top.
Yeah. But they were in like full riot gear with like almost like the bomb-proof, like high neck on it, like the bomb.
Yeah.
But all of that and his little head sticking out the middle, his little mad head.
Sid's fun. Sid is a great character. And he's just a nice addition at the end there as well to keep the tension high.
But it also, everybody's still out for themselves. Sid goes in. Almost. I love the outfit he shows up in as well. Yeah. Like, okay, fucking desert warrior. But he shows up and he's like, oh, I can get you out and I can get this. Yeah. And I can get Sid's got his own little plan,
I like the kind of the contrast between Sid and Mariska then as well. Because you think, in the first scene, you think, all right, Sid's a little bit wet, but he's getting them in and he leaves them alone. But then there's just something about the way they portray.
He's the one who tells them to go find
her. Yeah.
He's like, when you go in, there's a big statue of a bloke on a horse, and she'll be.
Yeah, she's like Arab, Romanian, something.
Yeah, don't care, with a dog. He said she'll look after you.
Yeah, she'll find you a room for the night. But for whatever way they portray her, you're kind of expecting the other shoe to drop with her.
Yeah.
And then when Sid shows back
first thing I see when I open my eyes, Destroyer of Worlds.
No, not that. I think it's when she realises that there's a baby there.
Yeah, because when they're trying to escape Sid and she hands the baby over and Mariska disappears. And you
go, oh shit, no! And so does Key.
Yeah, and like Theo starts to panic and you go, fuck me, is she taking the baby? And then she comes back and you're like, thank fuck. You wouldn't put it past her.
And I think there may even be a bit like that in the book where most people are just gobsmacked and realise the importance of it. But some people are just so devastated by everything that's happened. They're like, a baby, give me the baby. Yeah. And you're nearly expecting Mariska to do that, but she doesn't. And then she doesn't even try and save herself. She could have gotten on that boat too.
Yeah, they're like, Mariska, come on.
They're trying to get us. And she's like, no, you guys are more important. And it's like with Jasper, I think she's staying there to make sure that their escape route is an escape route. So I like that kind of the contrast between your Sid, who you think is going to be helpful, but then ends up being a complete prick, and Mariska, who you're maybe a little bit unsure of, but then ends up being one of the good ones. She takes them to this apartment that's like lovely and ornate with the granny, who's singing and and giving them oranges, and it's just very lovely. And like, even though like that's when Theo sees the guys coming across the roofs, and even though it's all chaos outside, it's this little bubble. Yeah, well, and the film gives you those, like you mentioned about the farm earlier, it gives you bits of time, breathing room to calm down, like, because they had just escaped from Sid, which is really, really big, and they like know that shit's going down. Yeah, and that's when they leave again. Then they're actually holed up in a bank, which makes sense. When they go to leave again, because he can see the squaddies coming across the roof, because he's like, here comes the army are coming in now to fucking squash the army are coming in across the bottom, and the lads running across the top I think are supposed to be fishes about to attack them. So he's like, never mind waiting for an hour for the boat, we gotta go now.
We gotta get out now.
We actually, one of the things that I really like we skipped over, which was the scene in the school before Sid picks them up. The
school that's just completely abandoned.
Just because you've already seen quite a few of abandoned buildings and stuff. Yeah. So at first you don't necessarily twig it straight away, and then you're like, oh wait a second, that's a primary school.
Yeah.
They haven't been used for at least 10 years, like, and it's just sitting there as this stark reminder to everything. It hasn't been repurposed.
Getting, shut down as well, piece by piece, where they would have only kept one classroom open, or because they would have just combined all the age groups in together. It's the same way they do, like, there's schools around here that have tiny catchment areas.
Or it should have been repurposed for something else, like housing refugees. Like,
but there's no...
But they don't want to house, because you would think in a world where when people die, the population just shrinks because there's no births. You would think that the more people that die, the more resources there would be around for people, but that's clearly not the case.
But you'd also expect the reaction of, shit, we can't have kids. You would expect humanity to unite.
You would think.
But obviously that's not a reaction that happened.
It is for a little bit when all the soldiers see the baby.
Yeah, everyone stops and then it all goes to shit. But that as well, one of them soldiers or whoever the CEO was around there would have grabbed them in a heartbeat.
Well, we were saying that when we were watching
Into the back of an APC,
it's
out of there.
All well and good for the soldiers to stop and be just like awestruck and, oh my God, look at this baby. But as soon as this commanding officer said, hang on, there's a baby. Oh, come here, get me that person and get me that baby.
Or one of them on their own merit, they would have just been like, you, in, out, get them out of here.
Oh, not even to get them out of here. I'm saying if it was the CEO who saw it, they'd have been like, that's important, let's bring her straight to the government.
No, but that was it. Like, any one of those would have just tapped somebody and been like, she needs to be...
But I think the resumption of violence is what stops that from happening.
Yeah, what gives them the distraction to get out, because when they get out of there, they head straight for the exit.
Yeah.
They presumably just can't find them again or don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because they bombed the place.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way those soldiers...
And one of them... but one of them would have gotten out and been like, we saw a baby.
Oh, they absolutely would have.
We saw a freaking baby, and then they leveled the place.
Well, I don't, because I was saying there's not, probably wasn't even enough time for them
Well, it depends on how
far they had rowed out, yeah.
Well, and he's also rowing, bleeding out, so it would have taken a while.
But they might have scoured the place for that baby.
Yeah.
She's out of there anyway, so it doesn't matter that they bombed the place.
No, but that was the thing that didn't sell. So, well, like when you see the two planes going over and you see it then through the fog, and it was like, they don't know that baby's not in there.
No, they don't, but they might not even have known.
You
word
think they
might not have gotten to
the
lads on the planes that there's a baby there in time.
There's literally a dude on the radio as they walk past.
And he stops whatever he's saying on the radio because violence resumes.
Yeah, and they would have immediately updated after that. That's what they do.
Well, yeah, I know, but they might not have believed him. I wouldn't hang the whole film on that.
You've got a whole
anyway.
squadron.
It's a brilliant film. I wouldn't be hanging them on that.
But also that minute when, with the baby crying as they're moving down through the building and the rebels stopping and taking the few seconds each, even as they're running up the stairs to go, and as they turn, they're looking, and then they're like, right, gotta keep going. Yeah,
gotta keep going, because there's a bunch of soldiers right behind us.
This is now a reason for us to do the things we're doing.
And then the soldiers' responses of immediately cease fire! Cease fucking fire!
Got two coming out!
But I just really wanted to mention that bit about the school. There's also a beautiful shot when they're in the school of Miriam and Theo inside talking, and you see Key on the swing through the broken glass outside. It's just a really nicely framed shot.
Because she would have been one of the last kids. But that now, because I think it was something like 156 schools in Korea don't have a first grade class this year.
Yeah, well,
so there's a lot of, there was shots of the empty classrooms, and it was very eerily similar.
Yeah, but that was an active choice as opposed to an issue with.
Yeah, no, that's an active choice, but it was very eerily similar. And then when you see things like, say, shots of Pripyat when it was abandoned and the artwork and everything is still up, and it wasn't even this building wasn't even closed down. There's still stuff on the walls,
but even
it wasn't shut down the way you would expect somebody to close. It was somebody walked out the door
just
one day,
locked it and left,
and left.
And that's very much how the school is as well. And even when they're with the wide shots when they're driving across the countryside, it does seem like a bit of a sparsely populated Britain now.
Yeah, people just seem to, either people are now all in the cities,
probably all crammed into the cities.
But yeah, it's like people have just given up and just left things.
But is there anything we don't like about it? Don't like the use of a multipla because it's a horrible car.
But they're all really they used what were new cars at the time. They have made them, aged them up. Yeah, the butt car.
Yeah.
The Beyonce.
Well, that was the McGann. That's the car that needs a bump start after the multiply gets the window shot out.
Yeah, there was a lady that used to come in who had one of them, and she named her car Beyonce.
Because it has a big butt.
Because it got back.
I don't think there's anything that I actually don't like, bar one thing. Well, two things. I don't like Jasper's death, but that's just because Jasper's awesome and I don't want to see him die. Patric's death. They make such a big thing of how much he hates Theo.
Yeah.
And there's a bit when Theo's in the building trying to find Key, and he hides in a room, and then Patric runs into that same room to shoot out the window, and Theo hides again, and Patric moves to another window inside that room, and just as Theo's leaving that room, he gets shot, and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't dwell on it at all. And I'm like, I kind of wish you had, because he's such a prick to Theo. I really thought. Now, I'm not saying that Theo should have had to have been the one to kill him.
No.
But even if just as he's lying there dying, he turns around and he sees Theo leave the room or something, No,
but I that doesn't bother me because it just reiterates how much of a cog they all are.
Yeah, because there's other people that you see dying like that
as well.
The fishes
about contacting the Human Project, which is it's like a hospital ship that's disguised to look as a ferry.
Well, that's what's taking them to the Human Project. That's
what they're trying to get to, to get to this boat. So the fishes are all replaceable for doing that, and they're talking about how they have a mirror, so it's like the fucking somebody contacts somebody who contacts somebody else who contacts somebody else. It's that kind of a thing. So, and the fishes are very much the same, where it's all these little cells that are operating internationally.
Yeah.
So not one person, not one individual of them is important.
No, I get that.
And by not making a big deal out of his death, even though he does have such a boner for it. I do like the song he sings though when they're waiting for Thingy to take her off around the corner.
It's very Joseph Gilgun in Lockout. It's that I'm going to enjoy being a psycho here.
Yeah, when they're waiting, because he's like, don't shoot them now.
I
wait until we get her around the corner.
I didn't want comeuppance in the sense of like I said, Theo picking up a gun and shooting him, because Theo doesn't touch a gun for the whole film or anything like that. But just if there had been,
a rock.
If they had, it's a car battery across Sid's head.
Poor Sid, not really.
Because one of the things that we talked about off air was that every death is made to count in this film, and no death is treated like lightly, because this is a world where every death literally does count. Every death brings the human count down by 1.
Yeah.
So death should never be treated lightly
and they're
in that
hiding
world.
but the thing with that as well is they're hiding in civilians.
Mm.
They've gone into a building. So they have no regard for human life. They're using these civilians, even though they're refugees, and these are the people they're supposed to be fighting for and protecting.
Yeah.
They have no regard for them because they've put them all in danger.
Mm.
So Patric isn't. He might have joined the fishes, but he's not doing it for the right reasons.
He's not.
And you get Thingy saying that Julian had it wrong. She thought it would be peaceful.
Yeah.
And it can never be peaceful.
Not when they're trying to take away your dignity.
Yeah.
But even
it's like, no, you're just doing that
even him
stupid
when
bore-headed thing of running in. And
but
violence will solve everything.
Even when he catches up with Theo and takes Key away.
Yeah.
Theo's like, we need to get her somewhere safe. Like, you're not gonna win this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Luke's response is, look around you. And I honestly thought
it's the uprising.
I was expecting him to say, look around you. You want to bring her somewhere safe, and you've brought her to a war zone. But what he actually says is, look around you. The uprising has already started, and that's before they even see the baby.
Yeah.
And then he runs into a building and endangers a shitload of civilians, of the people, refugees that he's trying to save. So yeah, no, I get that. I just think they should have put a little bit more weight on Patric's death, because if you weren't paying super close attention, you might not even realise that was Patric.
Yeah.
Luke dies because when they walk out of the room, you see the room explode.
Yeah.
And yeah, literally the only thing that I don't like about it is I just think they could have put a little bit more weight on Patric's death so we can see for 100% sure that bastard is dead. That's all. That's literally the only thing I don't like about this film.
No, Patrick certainly serves a purpose.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with the character. It's just I wish they had given him a little bit more weight to his death at the end because he is a driver of the plot in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
he's the one who kills Julian. He's the one who comes back and lets Theo know inadvertently that they were the ones who killed Julian.
Yeah.
And he's got such a fucking death boner for Theo
because the kid that they put in danger was only 19.
It was his cousin as well.
Yeah, and it's like, well, dude, you're the person who actually actively put him in danger, so...
Yeah, misplaced anger.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there anything you didn't like?
No, I don't really have any negatives about this film. It can be quite long. It's very depressing.
Yeah, but it ends on a rather hopeful note.
It does end on a hopeful note, but it can... Jesus,
it can be not dire is not the right word, but dour probably is the word I was looking for. And yeah, I wouldn't necessarily... It's not like some of the other films we've covered where I can put it on any day, any given day. No. I have to be in the mood to watch it. But it's such a phenomenal film,
It really is. And there isn't a lot similar to it. It's not like you can say, you cover this and there's 4 other movies that are exactly the same. There's a very, very special feeling to this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it is that realism as well. Because I don't think it's not like in Equilibrium, which wasn't, say, that far in the future, or it wasn't necessarily that removed, but they still have this wonder drug that we don't have.
Yeah.
In this, there's nothing that's not realistic in that sense in this.
Yeah, well, there's that whole bit when they bring him in and go, do you have any first aid? And he's like, it's mostly stuff for the cattle.
Yeah, there's no, the fanciest bits of technology we see are...
Whatever...
the kid is playing with
yeah.
When Theo goes to see his cousin. And then you see, fancy digital kind of holographic heads-up displays on some of the cars.
Yeah.
And whatever device Jasper is using to control his home sounds has a little clear glass screen that everything is displayed on as well.
Yeah.
And that's not even that... we don't quite have that technology yet, but it's done.
No, but we do
quite.
Yeah. It's just a bit smoother.
Yeah, we haven't figured out how to display things on see-through screens.
Developed, though.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the point?
But it's definitely... It's a sci-fi, but it's not very sci-fi in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's very, very realistic.
It's a very realistic sci-fi where, obviously... all of the world's greatest minds have been focused on trying to solve this fertility issue, so everything else has fallen by the wayside. So there's no point in developing the hottest new iPhone.
Yeah, and there's no point in trying to develop a new dementia cure or anything that affects old people.
Yeah.
Just kill them off, and all those scientists who were looking at dementia, now you're working on pregnancy.
Yeah.
Hey, you were working on like Alzheimer's, now you're working on pregnancy.
It's like, well, there's no point in making cures for like cancers and stuff like that anymore because
I'd say the whole medical industry
became fertility.
Is all
focused.
about fertility research, yeah.
And that's the whole thing, and like with the whole continuous fertility testing.
It's probably also part of the problem with the resources. Is they're probably spending way too much money on that.
They're spending
as well.
it on military.
Military and medical research, and not enough for the populace.
Yeah, because that is like everyone seems to just kind of have the bare minimum and have the basics, and they're all on rationing.
Yeah, and I assume it's just like there are rations for certain things, and other things you can buy. Like the real important stuff is probably rationed.
Yeah,
so but no, it's a phenomenal film. I've said it a couple of times already, but it really is a phenomenal film. Like, it's so damn good. I think nicely different from, say, the likes of The Handmaid's Tale as well, because it's not where The Handmaid's Tale is more focused on the society that has developed around the problem of infertility.
Yeah.
This is focused on the individual story of Theo and Key, set in the society that has developed around it. So I like that it is more of a kind of singular story. Obviously, Handmaid's Tale had the chance to expand because it's a TV show, you know what I mean? But there's different. I haven't read it though, so. But there's different focuses. Yeah. And I like it. I really liked it.
And I like the way it seemed to be a gradual thing as well. Because Miriam talking about how, it was just less, and she rang a colleague and they'd noticed that there was less, and the colleague rang a sister in Australia and it was the same thing, and that people didn't really realise what was going on until it was too late. It was too late to do anything.
And yeah, you would think as well that like if it's at the point where she literally had it was like 6 or 7 months in the future and she had nothing booked in, that sounds like it's a pretty bad situation. Like you would think a midwife would have been, or the general population would have been aware of a problem if it had gotten that bad, that she wouldn't have to be ringing other nurses. She'd be able to see reports that were saying this.
People don't talk about miscarriage. It's something that's not brought up. So if you had somebody who was, say, 3 months pregnant who miscarried, they're not going to talk about it. They'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll try again. So if that was the kind of attitude where because they're talking about women miscarrying, if you can't work out why that's happening.
I think also
and saying that they tried to save some of the babies.
If the flu pandemic happened in 2008, and baby Diego was just 18, he was born in 2010 or maybe 2009. Yeah. So I'm not saying there was supposed to be a link between the flu pandemic.
Dylan's death as well was that his little lungs were just never healthy enough.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're trying to link the two, but certainly even if the two aren't linked, there was a massive flu pandemic. And then within 2 years, there's suddenly no more babies anymore. Yeah. I can see why the government might want to try and keep that under wraps, given they just survived a big pandemic. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that kind of tracks as well. But yeah, no, for me, only one small thing that I don't like. For you, nothing that you don't really, like. No. It is.
Except for the fact the Irish Wolfhounds are angry. They are not an angry species. They're not an angry breed of dog. They're a lovable, cuddly. Yeah. And you don't get to see them enough. I was like, why would you put 2 wolfhounds in a film and not have a close-up on them? You don't get to see them very often. They're a massive dog, but they're the only dogs that are the only animals that are aggressive towards Theo.
They're the cousins' dogs, aren't they?
Yeah. They're the only ones that are aggressive because he's there on nefarious circumstances. Whereas Jasper's cat loves him. The cat in the Russian lady's apartment is all over him.
The dogs and the cats in the farm, the kittens in the farm. I particularly
animals like Theo.
But also, I think it's that animals like that, the ones that we've seen, are pets, and they need our support to survive. And that bit where the kitten is clawing up his leg is as they're having the conversation about what to do with Key. Yeah. And he's still kind of half sitting back. He's processing it. Yeah, he's processing it, not sure what he wants to do about it. And they make
comments about, why are you here? And they're like, look, he's important. Julian wanted him here. And they're like, Julian's dead.
And he's the only one who's actually advocating for the health and safety first and foremost of Key and the baby. Yeah. And I just like that's the point where the little kitten, this tiny little helpless kind of creature, is clawing at him and looking up at him, and he's like...
And then starts to climb his leg to get a cuddle.
Yeah, and he's like, I think I do need to be the one who supports and goes to bat for this kid here. And I just...
Because she's so scared and she's just going to go with whatever the majority are because she's doesn't know what she's doing.
But no, there's nothing proper. There's nothing big to dislike about this film. It's fucking brilliant. If you haven't seen it in a while, as usual, go back and check it out. Maybe just make sure you're in the mood for it first, because as I said, it can be a bit heavy. It
is. Like there is a lot of violence in it, but the violence is happening around Theo.
Yeah.
And it's violence that would, with the exception of the ambush in the road, all the violence is response to something that's happened.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, Sid tried to take the baby. Sid was going to shoot them all.
Well, yeah.
That was self-preservation.
Oh, yeah. But, like, Jasper's death isn't necessarily a reaction to anything other than them being annoyed that he had gotten away. Yeah. Like, but those are the deaths. It's not the random people getting shot that make it a hard film to watch. It's Jasper's death. It's Julian's death. It's Miriam getting taken off the bus. Those are the bits that are hard to watch.
Yeah, because they're the people who are good people, and you know that they want to do what's best and what's right. But they're not putting, like, Julian wanted it all to be very peaceful and she wants to get the baby out. She doesn't want the baby used for political purposes because she knows what will happen.
Yeah.
You know, and same with Miriam. Miriam's just there. Miriam's whole focus is key. Jasper's whole focus is helping his friend.
Yeah.
And realising how important it is that he gets out and gets to the Human Project. So the people, when they died, those people who were so important and so fundamental to, like, a good moral compass, their deaths chip away at the kind of overall picture.
Their deaths also sort of chip away at Theo's disillusionment and reluctance in the world, because as these people die, he's kind of, it's not just that he's the only one left to do the job, but also he realises the importance of the job. But yeah, no, brilliant film. It had been quite a while since we watched it, but I am nearly always happy to go back to this once I'm in the right frame of mind for it.
Absolutely amazing novel as well. The novel as well.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Highly recommend the novel too.
Yeah.
But I think that about covers it for Children of Men. As ever, thank you for joining us, guys. If you want, you can head back and listen to some of our previous episodes, or you can check out our other podcast, Mono Rants the Boys. And if you want, you can come and chat with us on Twitter at rantsmono, on Instagram at monorants_the_boys, or you can send your own rants to monorantspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll chat soon. Bye bye.